All right. Start here in 1 minute. If you guys are just joining, we'll start here in about 25 seconds. All right, we will start right now. All right, guys, welcome to the stream. If you guys are new here, welcome. If you guys have been here before, welcome back. As always, nothing is financial advice. Everything here is strictly for educational, entertainment purposes only, and maybe we will have a funny moment or two. But real quick, it looks pretty dire right now on the net premiums, but I will point out that most of it is due to Meta, which is having a pretty horrific day, to say the least. Down nearly 11%. What does Meta look like as far as seasonality goes? So no real trend in October. Nothing that really stands out. But the worst day of the year, the worst day since 2020. Oh no, actually, yeah, the worst day since 2022. Previous worst was on on April 25th, 2024. But today's drudging has clipped that. So pretty bad day. Pretty bad day. But anyways, make sure you guys leave something in the chat as far as a contract is concerned, a ticker, a question, what have you. Otherwise, we'll just hang out here. Oh, got one brave volunteer. Let's pull it up. All right. The contract in question is the Moo 340 strike for January. It's pretty up there. Is this thing cut off here? 340. Can I see it? Oh, I see it right there. This is pretty out there, I'll say. If I can remember how the alphabet works. All right, let's take a look at the tape here. So we do have 2,300 contracts traded, 0 open interest. So some kind of opening stuff is going on here. Someone's saying, yeah, we'll get there in a second here, but let's take a look at the tape on this specific contract. Let's zoom out just a little bit more. Get a good look here. So we're seeing everything that there is to see with this contract, and as we can see here in the same exact timestamp, 2:01:16 Eastern, you can see that the fill has gone from 4:05 to 4, which doesn't fill me with a whole bunch of confidence that it is being bought. But let's keep looking at the tape here. So in the next second, so again, this entire thing right here is presumably very likely a single trader. And the activity that is coming a mere second after, we will just attribute to the same trader as well. This stuff is coming in, quote unquote, at the ask. However, I wonder if the bid and ask was 4/405 the whole way. Obviously, there's no way to know, but I mean, 340, that's 50% of the money. Seems pretty out there. I mean, chips can do whatever, right? They've been on a pretty atmospheric run as of late, but I would probably say these are shorted. What do you guys think? Just my opinion. This one might be kind of a good. I'll definitely watch this one. I mean, just because a contract goes to 0 doesn't necessarily mean it like guaranteed shorted, right? Just keep in mind that there's plenty of strategies out there that involve, a contract expiring worthless, right? That's part of the goal of some strategies. So who knows? We'll never have the full picture here, but I think this one's a short. I think it's a short. Other moo flow, you say? What other moo has been going on here? Moo. Anything standing out here? The 200p November. 270 November. I mean, there's a couple of chains that are standing out. I'll just pull up a couple more here. So what did I just click on? I clicked on the 200. So this one will have to get an open interest check tomorrow, but presumably maybe some opening here. These two candles are adding up to about 1300. This candle is 1600, so probably not an open close. Probably both opens. What was the other one? The 270 November 28th. Let's take a look at the tape here and see. Coming in on a wideish fill to begin with. Let's just zoom out. Let's see if we just see as much of the tape as possible here. Shouldn't there be one more trade in the day here? All right, never mind. Okay, so we're basically seeing the full tape, right? This first trade here with one size that brings the daily volume to 2. I mean, there was one contract somewhere underneath this, right? We can't see it, but presumably this is basically the full tape of the day here. So in this one timestamp, I mean, we do have a fill jump, but like it's on a widespread. It's just on a widespread the whole time here. Not the cleanest flow. I mean, definitely an opener, 100% an opener. There's no open interest to speak of. So an opener for sure. Did I look at one more moo? I guess that's it for moo. When is earnings? Oh, it's not for a while. So it's not even an earnings play. It's just a play. Yeah. All right, let's move on here. HBio. HBio. The 50-cent November with some flow. I mean, there's a few contracts here that have, so to speak, opening flow. Probably all three of these, the 1 December, the 50-cent November, as well as the 1 November. Are these all single candles predominantly? Let's see here. Okay, so the 50 cent, there's just like not really a single whale that we can see. It's just like kind of a sporadic volume throughout the day. So we'll just disregard that one for now. This one, kind of the same story. I mean, like there is volume. There is 3,300 contracts traded. Total premium is not too high. This guy is kind of like a cluster. So I guess this is quote unquote like a single trader, but not the most flow. Volume wise, like yes, but like notional value, just not that much. It does have earnings in 7 days, so you're going to be paying a premium for these. It is trading a lot, a lot, 70 times normal, but I don't think that necessarily is always such a good thing. What was that one thing? The BBW, wasn't that also trading kind of insanely yesterday? Yeah, so BBW, or not BBW, BBD. I have Build-A-Bear workshop on the line clearly. It's BBD, 100 times normal volume yesterday, which is obviously a lot. But the calls not doing good post earnings. So that's not always a signal, right? A lot of volume is not always a signal. Just keep that in mind. Someone's saying if you made this a stage, you wouldn't have all the join leave noises. That is probably true. I have those muted on my end, so I don't hear them. But someone else did say to make a stage, so I guess maybe that's something we can look into. Didn't know how to do it, and I didn't want to rush into doing it right before and potentially mess something up. So we'll look into that for the next time. Let's see here. Next, we got the Intel. The Intel November 2145, which I probably have saved here. Indeed, I do. Are they still hanging out? Yeah, they're probably still hanging out. whole bunch of volume on the 27th, which is all this stuff right here. Very, very large increase in open interest. And no like singular big candle of them getting out. For example, do I have any big candles here of get outs? Okay, so like yesterday, like the candle size is not the same, but like when there's big volume and there's not much other volume, you can usually kind of attribute it to being the same trader, so to speak. So on the 9th, you know, there's 60,000 plus volume, 40,000 close. So this trader might even still have 20,000 calls, 20,000 of the 290 calls here. Just want like an easy. I'll have to find something later. But anyways, I mean, they're probably still in, right? What other intel do we have here? Intel 45C February on the 16th had 750,000 in premiums traded, decent increase in open interest. The February had, looks like there's a few here. What do we have here? So this one maybe they closed. Yeah, so this first candle is an open, the second one is a close. If we take a look at the historical volume and open interest for this specific contract, we can see that on September 26th, big volume, which led to a big increase in open interest, which is the open. And then shortly later, similar volume, decrease in open interest. So this one is probably out. I'll just get rid of that. Did not see that one. There was some kind of lotto-esque 60 strike February calls. Not the most money, so like nothing to use in your thesis, really. 48 March still hanging out. And I think the 50 is also in. Yeah, the 50 May with like 10,000, 11,000 probably still in. Maybe some closing, not sure. But yeah, Intel, decent amount of flow. Let's see, moving on. So Hudson saying, yeah, so it's the BBD contracts. Let's just take a look at those. The BBD 21 November, 3.5. Looks like probably a whole bunch of closing given all this volume today. So you had 200,000+ traded yesterday, which was representative of, I want to see that value. Representative of 75% of all of yesterday's 100 times normal volume, right? So this contract was like predominantly what happened yesterday. And as you can see, it's just not done what you want it to do. So yeah, I mean, this is one potential indicator, but not always one, clearly, as you can see here. Moving on, we got the cores, 30C Decembers. I was looking at those earlier, I think. Yep. Still open, I think, mostly. So on the 27th of October, 6.9 million in premiums, very sizable increase in open interest. So they're probably still in, if I had to guess. 74 average fill on this large candle of 69,000 volume. So I guess the whale size is probably around 69,000-ish. Some multi-leg volume today. I guess we can just take a look at this and see what this is about. So it's like a very complicated trade involving multiple legs. So like, we'll just pretend we didn't see that. But yeah, the Cores 30C probably still in there. All right, moving on. We got the Roblox March 90p. March P90. All right, so we got the Roblox 90 March with 500 plus volume, single candle. So like, you know, when there's 100 open interest and significantly more volume, single candle is an opening trade pretty much. So let's take a look at the candle itself and see what took place here. So let's see here. It's very possible that some of this, so like I'm always looking at the timestamps mostly first just to try to group trades together. So like all this stuff that's happening at 12:48:12, you can probably say is one singular execution. These may as well, but they're taking place earlier, so like there's less evidence to suggest that it is, but it could be. It could be. Let's actually clear this. Let's just see the whole tape. It's hard to say exactly when the trade starts. I feel like this could be them as well. I mean, what was the volume when this started? When this started, that was 64, so that means that there was 39 volume previously. 39. I don't know, but let's see the tape. What does the tape look like? So it starts filling at 5:05. 5:05. I mean, yeah, it could be a short. Could be a sell to open potentially. Why did this get smoked? Did it have earnings or? Oh yeah, I guess earnings this morning. I don't know anything about Roblox. I just know that it's just gone up in a straight line for a while now, like much of the market has. But anyways, let's move on here. Next, we got the Mara. The Mara November 21 19s. November 21 19. Yep. Let's see. You said 19, right? Yeah, okay. So this is a multi-leg trade, 100% of all volume today, multi-leg. So let's take a look at what the other leg might be. See the trade happening here. So you can see that the 19C November that has been called out, which is this left side of the screen here. There is volume also on the 19C for December. The volume for the November contract is 100% opening given the high volume to open interest. Here, like, it's just a close. I'm going to zoom out and we're going to see candles of the similar size at some point. Could be as recently as like yesterday, the day before. Some of this stuff happens pretty recently, yeah. So I just zoomed out 2 weeks. Whatever this trade is today, it's linked to this trade, which took place originally here. If we go back here, what do we see? So if I go back to the 13th, so this trade was also a multi-leg trade in its own right. So this thing goes back quite a ways. Yeah, so this thing used to be a 17C October, and then it turned into a 19C November, or a 19C December, and now it is a 19C November. So probably not, I would say this is not flow you want to follow. Not directional, most likely. Just some kind of, I don't know what it is. It's just not really flow. It is just it's an institution just doing something. They're not doing anything sketchy. It's just a trade. It's just something to protect whatever it is they're doing. Don't know what it is. Lots going on. But just disregard that. Not all multi-leg flow needs to be disregarded. Some can be looked at. You know, maybe you might be seeing a call spread, a bullish call spread, or maybe a bearish call spread. So kind of just a three-legger, four-legger, etc., etc. Let's see here. Next, we got the AJG. Big multi-leg here, trading slightly above normal. Earnings, is it earnings tonight? After hours tonight. Let's take a look at this. So real quick, possibly buys to open, definitely opens. The fills potentially going up here, and this is attached to some 310s, which are trading at the bid. So I mean, like, there's not a lot of information here other than it looks like a opening long call spread. Let's see. Let's take a look at one of the bigger fills here. So I mean, the 310 is just always filling. They're gonna always be filling on a wide spread because this contract is not very liquid. So let's take a look at the tape here. Damn, I mean, like 20 to 35 is 75% increase, right? To 40 is 100%. So like these things are getting juiced super quick. I mean, I don't know. It just looks like a long call spread, I guess. Gallagher, a global insurance brokerage and risk management services firm. Godspeed to whoever is that. That is. All right, moving on. AT&T, December 27 with a decent volume, open interest, heavy ask side skew, no multi-leg activity, premiums pretty decent. Let's take a look here. You can tell like, a pretty good amount about a contract just by looking at the stats here. Now somewhere where Robinhood falls short is that like when you pull up the contract thing on like a Robinhood or like any brokerage, it tells you most of this stuff, right? It's going to tell you the volume, it's going to tell you the open interest. It's probably not going to tell you the change in open interest. It might give you like the live bid ask. It's not going to tell you what percentage of activity was multi-leg. I know that for a fact, and that's a pretty damn important piece of information, is it not? Like we've already gone over a few examples where knowing that something was or wasn't multi-leg was pretty important, right? So it's a pretty important thing. It's a pretty important thing to look at. So always be looking at that. Anyways, AT&T, we can see this large increase in net premium coming from this activity right here. Let's take a look at the tape just to see if it gives us any clues. Gonna have to zoom out pretty big here. It's gonna be a lot of different executions, it looks like. Oh no, maybe not. Okay, so this is literally the entire feed of the day here. So this first trade of the day of 3 size caused the contract to have 3 volume, right? So first trade of the day. So this is the entire feed. So when does it start getting spicy? 234.55. They start filling here at 24. There's some volume ahead before, but like it's not close enough for me to think that it's attached at all. So the trade effectively starts here, I believe. So 234.55, 24 fills. Bid ask is pretty tight. Do we have any timestamp assistance here? Do we get any extra data points? I mean, like, so this activity that comes 40-ish seconds later, is it them? It's probably them, right? I mean, like, who else? There's not that many people that are trading this size of this contract, right? So, like, we can probably assume that it's them. I mean, it's an open 100%. Is it a buy to open? Let's see here. XCBO. Do we have a Dan Wagner in the chat? We do. If you're listening, Dan. AT&T 27C December. Let me know. But opening contracts for sure. Have my associate look a little bit deeper into it. But let's see here. Moving on. We got the Figma 75 strike. November. Quite soon. Damn. 50 bones. Remember that? What did it go to? What did the IPO at again? What did everyone get their shares at? It wasn't 20. It was something else. It was like 30 something? I don't know. But tough times, tough times. All right, what does the tape tell us? Does it tell us anything? I wonder if they are cells to open. Nothing explicitly. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's probably cell to open. The bid ask was probably 57.75 right here. So all this stuff probably sell to open. Adding size here. Yeah, this is another 2,000 size right here. So probably the same person. So yeah, probably sell to open if I had to guess. All earnings next week. The implied move for this guy for next week is 41 to 56. So the options have priced in a 14.81% move in either direction. So to short the 75 call should be pretty safe. I'm sure the probability of profit on that one is pretty high. Yep. All right. Blah, 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 blah. I'm just reading the chat here, guys. Let's pull up just a flow feed, see if anything's coming up here while we're hanging out. HPE is, got collapsed after earnings, but like there was a lot of flow. Far dated flow. I think there's still some of it still open. I mean, it's been. I mean, we might have to look. I mean, this isn't the most flow. It's only 180,000 in premiums, and it's pretty out there. I would effectively just call this a lotto ticket, even though it's far away. It's pretty out of the money. All right, let me get back to the chat here. All right, we got the Woo, the Western Union, I believe, right? What was that news thing that they had recently? Something about shit coins or something. Woo 10C February. Let's see here. Woo 10C February. So for this guy, we got to watch out because there was some flow yesterday. So there was a bunch more flow yesterday than this candle is today. So like there could be a close, could be an add. This is just one of those situations where you'll have to look at the open interest tomorrow, just to get a clearer idea of what's going on. It could go up a lot. It could go up not much. It could decrease a little bit. It could go down a lot. And each of those outcomes will tell you something. It will like kind of confirm something different, right? So if it goes up a lot, then someone else opened a bunch of contracts, right? If it goes down a lot, then someone here, most likely this right here, closed a bunch of contracts, right? So like the open interest value tomorrow would tell you a lot about what happened the day prior. It's a very effective value. Let's see here. Moving on, we got, what is this? The Bore 5C February. This thing is trading 35 times normal. Earnings next week, so let us keep that in mind. Some opening flow most likely. What does this candle look like? Yeah, so I mean, probably buys to open. They might have started filling at like 10, and then it got the offer got lifted up to 15. I don't know anything about this. This is the first time I'm hearing about this. Bore drilling. So yeah, energy. So earnings, yeah. So definitely openers. So a good eye on that. Opening flow is what the entire game is all about. But yeah, there you go. Moving on. Someone is asking about the C 40C December, which I am already looking at. I think someone may have shouted this out a few streams ago or something. That would probably make sense. So it's still open given the open interest. So what does the tape look like? What did I say it was last time? So unfortunately, this 1,000 size thing, this 1,000 size trade comes in at a pretty wide spread, so there's not really much tape here to give you any clues. The true bid ask could very well have been 124, 125, right? In which case a 124 fill would be at the bid. There's no way to know. What was the stock trading at? So the stock's trading at 33.6 right now. It's lost like 10%. So yeah, could be a sell to open. Who knows? Who knows? What is C? Sealed Air Corporation. All right. Let's see here. We got the SanDisk. This thing's been on a nutty run. If you zoom out on the chart, the 260 November. So a milli straight on the 260. When does this thing have earnings? Earnings soonish. So this is the tape. This is basically, yeah, this is every single trade of this contract today. So we can probably presume that all this volume taking place is the same person. Initial trade comes in on a wide spread. I mean, that's a wide spread, 60 cents. It's pretty wide. Who knows? I mean, it's 100% opener. But your guess is as good as mine. Yeah, I mean, it's just in the last few months, this thing is bananas. So, who knows? It's been another big one. All right, moving on. We get the Pinduoduo 145C December. Pinduoduo 145C December. I see it up there now. We also see the 135P November with a clear opening activity. No multi-lick to speak of. We'll take a look there. And I have a few others that I've saved for whatever reason. I'm sure if we look at the candles, we'll be able to figure it out. All right, so the one that was requested was the 145 deck, right? Yep, 145 deck. So an opener, very clearly. Let's take a look at the tape here. See if there's any clues. 25 was way too low. Let's go to like 10K. 10K is decent. Hard to say. Hard to say. For could be. I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't. I don't know. It's hard to say. Now nothing's ever certain, right? But I mean, like sometimes it's like extra uncertain. And I'm saying it's extra uncertain, but like it's just there's not many clues here. I guess is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, an opener for certain. What about that other Pinduo? Pinduoduo. Is this a short put? Does the tape give any clues? No clues on the tape. Very widespread, so like, you know, there could be some kind of phantom ask that's higher that, you know, who knows, right? The bid ask is it's a very tricky thing. And the other one is the 138 Novembers, which had a big opener on the 24th, followed by a large candle of exactly the same size on the 27th, which was a situation in which you needed to wait for open interest to figure out what happened here. So in this case, the open interest increases quite a bit. So that tells you that this activity right here was some kind of opening activity. So that's just like the read that the open interest value gives you. And since there's no other activity, they're still in. Presumably long because they're ask side. I think when I looked at the tape on this one, it looked ask side. And given that this one is also like an opener of the same size, it's probably the same trader. So if they're doing one thing, they're probably doing it again. Now, if they shorted it and they shorted it again, then my read's completely off. But you got to just use your intuition sometimes. Moving on, we got a Reddit. I think this one was sell to open. This one was sell to open. I said so in the Discord, I believe. It looked a little sketch. Let's take a look. All right, so zoom out here. So this is basically the entire tape of the day. Every trade of the Reddit 210 Novembers that filled at $10,000 or higher. So we can see on the chart here, it is a 2,000-ish size candle. So let's see here. So at 10.50.34, Got a whole bunch of 310 fills, 310s. Still looking here. My eyes are just darting back and forth between the time. I'm making sure I'm still on the same time, and I'm seeing the same timestamp. Let's see here. Why did I think it was short? Was it a different one? Let me look in the Discord here and see what my comments were at the time here. Give me a second. Red at 210.7 might be STO. I guess I didn't leave any commentary, unfortunately. Why did I think it might be STO? Why did I think? What in the tape made me think that? Huh, I don't know. I don't know what made me think it, but possibly a good read. It had earnings this morning, right? So there's no earnings to save you. Oh no, it's after hours. Never mind. So I guess maybe there is earnings to save you. I don't know. Yeah, it's an opener for certain, 100%, but not sure if it's long or short. All right, let me get back to the chat here. Yeah, I don't know why I said in the flow discussion channel that it looked STO. I don't know. Let's see here. Amazon. What's Amazon up to? Hanging out at lows of the day. I presume it's down a little bit because of Microsoft, which reported yesterday. Let's see here. What any contracts? The weekly 225 someone is shouting at, which I assume is just going to be some volume. Yeah, it's going to be hard to find a whale here, I think. Oh, nope. There is a whale here. What is this? So the size is while this is like a pretty large candle that sticks out, let's count the size, right? So if you look to the left of my mouse, it says 3700 size or candle volume 3765. So while it is a pretty sizable trade, in the grand scheme of things, 35, what was the volume? 3700 size is like not much in this specific context because there's already 15,000 volume. There's 11,000 open interest. So this could be an existing trade potentially. So if I zoom out, do we have any similarly sized stuff going on here? Yes, but like it's not obvious. So I mean, probably an opener if I had to guess. Now the problem with quote unquote waiting for open interest tomorrow is that this thing reports tonight. So waiting for tomorrow's data point is not going to do you anything because by the time the market opens tomorrow, it's going to be, up a lot, down a lot, nothing, it's going to be too late is the point. But what does the tape look like? Probably going to go 10K for this bad boy. Maybe even higher. FedEx trucks came. Did I order anything? No, probably not. All right. So as we said, it was like a 3,700 sizes trade. So as you can see here, the daily volume goes up about 3,700. So this is their trade right here, effectively. Not a whole lot of clues, honestly. So hard to say. An opener, probably, but I mean, like, who knows? When there's doubt, and there's plenty of doubt here, I would say probably just best to find something else to look at. There are some big Amazons. There's like a 225, 275 call spread with a 200 short attached to it. So like if I go to the 200 short and I find this big candle and then I click on this one and then I zoom out. So this on October 8th, yep. So on October 8th, looks like someone opened around 3,000-ish of the 225, 275, 200p June, which is quite far away, obviously. So that's kind of a spicy three-legger for those of you who like those. What was the other one? Wasn't there like a January one? Yeah, the January 265, are these open still? These were opened on the morning of the 24th. I would assume that they're still open. Doesn't look like there's any more volume here that can support them exiting. So they're still in there, I presume. Most of these puts I believe are short puts, so nothing long put there. But I am slightly biased, so who knows? Let's see here. Amazon 275C January, someone is saying. Let's see. So in this case, I would probably say that yesterday's activity and today's activity may be very well linked. Similar sizing, but again, no way to know until tomorrow, and it'll be too late. So a good one to look at just to satisfy your curiosity, just to see what happens with the open interest. I think it's always worth just like looking at the open interest on like all the contracts that you're interested in, just to see what it does, right? Like, you know, you might have some questions about what it does, right? It's very interesting. I know I didn't really sell it to you very hard right there, but like just look at the open interest and the change in open interest on like all the flow that you're looking at. I promise. Jay Bleezy, we already hit that one, brother. I think that one was a sell to open, possibly. 405 or 42395 fill. But again, just a speculation, just a pure speculation from one fool to maybe another. Let's see here. Someone's asking, will the stream be recorded? Sure will. We'll get up on the YouTube channel. Last time I was chewing gum, I didn't realize how annoying that was. My fault. I'm not chewing it this time, so the recording will be better. My bad there. So what happened was, I ordered something on Amazon that was like $23, and if I ordered something that was $25, I would get like next day shipping. So like I just had to add something small. I added a pack of gum, and I never chew gums, so like it's just a strange one-time situation, pretty much. It's 3:10. What do we got for earnings tomorrow, or tonight rather? There we go. It's gonna be a big one. It's gonna be a doozy. Something for everyone. And then tomorrow, some oil, Colgate. Next week, I think next week's kind of, oh no, shit. Next week's pretty big too. 25% of the NASDAQ, 27% of the S&P report next week. Let's just give it a glance, see anything. We got Palantir, Shopify, Uber, Spotify, AMD, ANET, McDonald's. Yeah, it's a who's who out there. App, QCOM, ARM. Yep. It's gonna be a big one. It always is. I am going to not click the links to other products during the stream, but I'll maybe check those out later. Someone's asking about net 260 November. Let's see here. High multi-leg here, so we'll have to look at what is attached to this. Earnings tonight, looks like, yep. So tape not super helpful. Tape not super helpful, but what is it attached to? Could be a short call spread, potentially. Definitely both being opened, right? This is 1100 volume, there's only 400 open interest. 1100 volume, basically close enough. Not enough open interest to support this being closed. So by the process of elimination, they're both being opened. So is it a short call spread? Is it a bull call spread? Who knows? And again, the open interest. Well, I guess the open interest doesn't help you anyways in that regard because the open interest doesn't tell you if it was bought or sold. It just tells you that it was opened. So you will see open interest increase on both of these contracts tomorrow, but it won't help you. Someone is asking, let's see here, Uber, sell to open example potentially. Let's see. So we do have a singular candle of 1100 size. Open interest is 500-ish, so an opener. Pretty clear opener here. Is this sell to open? Is it buy to open? Who knows? This one's a bit tricky. I would probably say sell. Yeah, I guess I would probably say sell to open. Bid ask was probably 211, 212. Sometimes it goes down to 211. Yeah, so this is probably sell to open. Someone's asking Baltimore minus 7.5. Is that the line? Let me check my other screen here. Baltimore on NFL. What is it on? It's on Amazon. Yeah, it's on Amazon. Yeah. Okay, so the line is minus 7.5, juiced to the Ravens. Is Lamar playing tonight? I got Zay Flowers. I need him to have a good game. Oh, it's crazy that the Ravens. Let me check this. I gotta look at something. The Ravens are going to win the AFC North, aren't they? Let me see here. Conference win. Yeah. Let me see here. Oh, not conference. I need division winners. Yeah, they have. They're the favorite, minus 125. How many games back are they? They're like 2 games back, and that's crazy. AFC North is just so shitty. Mike Tomlin is just Mike Tomlin. They're 1-0 in division. Are they really just one division game? Let me see here. Yeah, you're right. The Browns, the trouncing. Yeah, so I guess they just had to win the division games, then they just basically win the division because the rest of the division is ass. All right. Moving on. Let's get a couple more in here. Marvel 96 November. Oh, so anyways, my non-financial recommendation for this game is, let's see here. Let's go over 51.5. No, is that insane? It's a pretty high line, 51.5. All right, anyways, sorry about that. 96C November, 96C November. So an opener on the 23rd. Basically everyone who traded this contract held into the next day because the open interest change is like so significantly close. So all openers, and they're still holding, it looks like, right? In order for them to be leaving, we would need to see large volume of similar size. So yeah. Adobe 390. This one rings a bell. Didn't some? I think I posted it. Adobe 390 December. So openers certainly. Earnings soon, right? Oh yeah, earnings. It overlaps earnings, but like it's so far away that it's don't think of it as an earnings trade. Does the tape help here? So the trade probably. I mean, some of this stuff could be the trade too. Sell to open vibes maybe, but I'm not sure. I'm getting sell to open vibes maybe, but don't quote me. Who knows? We will watch it though, and we will see. Let's see here. Next, we got the Circle 113 put expiring November 21. 113. So indeed, a big opener. 2,800 volume, basically no open interest, no multi-leg activity. So very likely a single leg trade. So what do we have here? Let's look at the tape. So this is pretty much the full tape. I wonder if the bid ask was 850, 855 this whole time. And if these are sells, there's no way to know. Speaking of Circle, how about that other stuff? Wasn't like some 385 or something wild? Yeah, 385 November. How are these guys doing? Not too hot. Looks like they're down 50% exactly-ish. I guess exactly-ish is not really a thing. They're down close to 50% on those, which I don't know. Just 380 is just a wild strike price. Over 200% out of the money at the time. What was it? At the time, yeah, I mean, at the time it was 200% out of the money, and now it's even more out of the money because it's gone down. When did this thing go down? This thing went down on the 21st. So if we look at the net premium chart on the 21st, it was this, which doesn't really account for much, I guess. Yeah, saw a lot of people talking about that one for sure. Someone is asking, if the open interest goes down, does that mean that the people that originally sold the put or call bought them back and closed out the contract? So if the open interest goes down, so let's see here. Give me 1 second to pull up the other screen here. Okay, so let us look at this example. So on Monday, Joe buys a contract. He opens a contract. He buys a contract, whatever. He opens a contract. So then Tuesday morning, you check and you see that the open interest on this contract has gone up from 0 to 1, right? Everything is lining up. Now on Tuesday, the next session, Joe puts his one contract up for sale at the bid. Jane puts in an order at the ask and buys it from him. So Joe has closed his contract, but since it is still owned by Jane from right here, it's still in open interest. The contract still exists somewhere. Someone else owns it. It still exists. But the open interest remains the same. If this wasn't the case, if this other party wasn't around to assume this order, and then the open interest would go down to 0, in that case, the contract has like actually been closed. The original counterparty and the original buyer have linked up and closed out. I don't necessarily think that matters too much. Like once a contract has been closed by the original trader, I just feel like the flow it's over. Someone's asking if we can increase the number of viewers. So next time we will be able to, because we're gonna have a stage next time. But this time we can't. So tell your friends who can't get in here, I apologize. Next week they'll be able to get in here. Someone is saying that is the clearest explanation of open interest I've heard or read. I think it's a pretty, yeah, it's just use like a simple, let me give you another one maybe. Let's see here. I'll link you to, well, I guess we'll just take a look at this picture here. So here's the example we just went over. So think about each contract as a 1 by 1 by 1 block, you know, those little wooden blocks that you played with in elementary school. Open interest is the container that contains all the 1 by 1 by 1 blocks, right? So how else can we elaborate on this? It's a little bit too long to go over, but I will leave you this link. And it is a pretty lengthy, it's a pretty tweet. So this is a tweet, is an analogy that gives you a couple other examples. It gives you an example of open interest not moving, but a position being closed. And actually, while we're here, let me find, let me get an example here. I think the sorry, I lost my train of thought here. I don't even know what I'm looking for when I'm scrolling. Hopefully I hope it stands out as soon as I see it. What am I looking for again? Here it is. Here it is. Okay, so here the contract handoff on full display here. 7,500 contracts opened back in January by trader A. So January 23rd, 7,500-ish contracts opened, right? We can see the increase in open interest. Very clear opener, right? And then later in February, we see similar volume, but the open interest doesn't do anything. So in this case, this trader is no longer in the position. Someone else is in the position. That's why the open interest still remains high, but this trader is no longer in the picture. However, if you were to only look at the open interest, like if you were following this whale and you were only looking at open interest, you would see this. Oh, okay, open interest is still high. Open interest is still high. Open interest is still high. Oh, they're still in there, right? The whale was 7,500 size. Open interest is still 7,500 plus. It's 8,000. They didn't get out, right? But if you look at the volume, right? Like look at the full picture. Zoom out a little bit. See how stuff lines up. This is a pretty good example as well of the quote-unquote contract handoff. Joe buys 7,500 contracts, or Joe opens 7,500 contracts, right? Jane buys them from him here, which is why there's still so much open interest, right? But Joe is no longer in the picture, or Jack, whatever the hell his name was. So open interest is a key metric. Volume is just as critical. Volume and open interest, those are the two things. I've referenced volume and open interest every time we've run over a contract. It is that important. Something to always look at. There's other things to look at too, but like those two are on the list of other things to look at as well. That red contract going not a whole lot of places fast here. Shark Ninja getting dunked on. I thought there was some opening Shark Ninja flow. What is Amazon up to? Amazon lows of the day. All right. Someone is saying, wouldn't the volume be 15K then? Okay, so someone is saying 7,500 sold, then 7,500 bought. So no, because the buy sell is happening at the same time, right? So like, just like let's reduce it to one contract, right? If you open one contract, yes, someone has sold you the contract. A market maker has sold you the contract, but it's just one volume. It's the same thing, right? Just pretend it's one market maker, it is another market maker. And that's probably what it was actually at the end of the day. But yeah, the buy sell, a transaction, right? A transaction obviously includes a buyer and a seller, but that's just one. That's one transaction. So someone asks here, can we assume then that the trade has been reversed? So no. The only takeaway here really is that the original position has been vacated. So whatever this was, whoever this is, they're no longer in the picture. Someone else is in the picture, but not them. All right. So we have a few more minutes left, but I think we will wrap it up for contract requests. Do I have any thoughts on closing? Comcast earnings this morning. So someone is saying if I open the contract, here, let me copy and paste this so you guys can, it's a little lengthy. All right, so someone is asking if I open the contract with 10, the volume and open interest will be 10. Okay, so same question, you're just kind of rephrasing it, right? So like, let's just kind of let's do this one by one. So if you open 10 contracts, right? So let's say this is a made up contract, the ABC 100 expiring 10/31, right? Let's just say there's 0 open interest. you buy 10 contracts, nothing else happens throughout the rest of the day, right? Tomorrow, the open interest is 10, right? And then tomorrow, let's say you sell them, like you sell all 10, that's 10 volume still. So you sell all 10, that's 10 volume. Now the open interest value tomorrow will tell you what happened, right? So if the open interest is 0, then whoever sold you those contracts you've closed out completely, right? So if the open interest is 0, then every existing contract has been closed. None exist, right? If the open interest is 10, let's say, then that means that someone else, when you sold this, someone was there, right? Let's say you put out a sell order at $1, right? Let's just say you put out a sell order at $1, and let's just say I was already there with a buy order for $1, right? My bid is there for $1. I want to buy 10 contracts for $1. You've filled my buy order by selling, and I now have 10 contracts, and that's why the open interest, if the open interest is 10, that just means someone else has your position. So that's really it. So if the open interest is 10, then that just means that the contracts have been handed off. Now, what does that mean for you? I mean, you're out of the position, right? You've sold your 10 contracts. So if you're the whale, then the trade is over as far as anyone tracking you should be concerned, right? Yep. Hopefully that makes sense. All right. It is time for me to bounce. I need to start praying to the God that I believe in for my holdings to do well tonight. This thing will be up on YouTube soonish. Thank you guys for coming. You guys make the stream possible. You guys' participation is great. Thank you so much. If I didn't get to you, I'm sorry. Get to you next time. Next time, let me see my schedule. What's today? Today's a third. Ooh, okay. So next week probably can't do Thursday. Let's try. Actually, no, I can do Thursday. I think. For now, let's just say Thursday. Let's say Thursday, same time for now. I might flex it. I might flex it to Wednesday. But yeah, that's it. See you guys.